It is Friday night, and I get to come here and I get to talk football. I could not be happier, could not be more excited. Hopefully, I have everything set up correctly. I should be live on both Facebook, Twitter, and of course, YouTube. Got to mute myself, make sure everything is ready to go. Want to make sure that I can get comments, and I got some already, so good to go. I am good to go. I am good to go, man. Oh man, I am jacked up. Corey, what's up, brother? I just really, you know what? I forgot to send it to you, and I apologize. That's on me. It's been a hectic week. I'm gonna send you my preview. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, you know what? I didn't put a link in the description below this live stream, so I'm sorry, but I did do my Arizona Cardinals preview. I released that Wednesday. Just about an hour ago, I released my Denver Broncos preview. So the first 5 previews over and done with. I've done a great job keeping them under 10 minutes. It's actually funny with the Rams. I originally was going to go into detail about their draft because they had picks in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round that I liked, and I'm like, wait a minute, you realize how long it's going to take? So I cut a lot of that out. I tend to rant a little bit, so all right, it's about 7 or 8 minutes long. It's short, but it's pretty good. I actually think you'll like it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Oh, my boy Keys is in the house. Oh, man, I'm always excited to hear from Keys. Keys says, get off the Big Berthas, Charlie Sheen. Let's get this party started. I'm jacked up. I had an energy drink earlier. I relapsed into energy drinks, but I'm just drinking coffee. Coffee with almond milk. I'm giving almond milk a try, and so far I like it. I like almond milk. I'm drinking almond milk in my coffee. I'm kind of crazy. But as you know, I am a crazy guy. Oh, man, this is my brother from another mother, my boy Chad. He says, Dan, man, Chad, I miss you and I love you. This is my boy. There's only a handful of men I can honestly just walk up and like, man, I love you, and Chad's one of them. Chad's one of them. Oh, man, I got funk in the house. Oh, man, I got funk in the house. What's good, y'all? Funk reminds everybody to hit that like button. Thank you, Funk. I feel bad because I wanted to join the Luke G show because you guys just made a great move. I cannot emphasize how much I love this move. You just traded for Denzel Mims. I love this. I love this trade. And I wanted to get on Luke G show, and I wanted to comment on how much I like this move because remember, let's just kick it off. Denzel Mims. For those of you that don't know, disgruntled wide receiver Denzel Mims of the Jets. He wanted to trade last year. The Jets said no. Just got traded to the Detroit Lions for, you know what? I don't have the trade details. Give me 1 second here. And I will get it's almost nothing. I think it's like a 6th pick that could be a conditional 7th. It's such a small trade here. Look, let me see here. Let me see here. What is the details on the trade here? Let me see here. What was the conditional 6 in the Lions case? This is so comical. This is a comical trade. Listen. You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I don't have to pander to Lions fans, and I'm not going to, but I'm very grateful because I have a lot of Lions fans in this community, and I could not be more thankful. But I'm not going to pander to Lions fans. When the Lions make mistakes, I was critical about their draft. Now, I gave them a higher grade than most people, but I'm adamant that they reached both times in the first round. But this is a steal. This is such a steal. Funk says, been a long week. I'll probably just listen more and comment. Hey, Funk, I get it, man. I get it. No hate. I'm just glad you're here. I'm glad that you took Friday night here, and I'm just glad you're spending it here listening. listening and commenting, and I love it. I always love when you're here. Man, it's always great to have you here. Luke was less than positive, really. Got a 7 for Mims and a 6. If Mims doesn't make the 53, the deal is null and void. Okay, I'm really surprised to hear that. I am very surprised to hear that. By the way, Hatter's house is in the house, man. Hatter's house 710. I guess I'm gonna be the ray of light for Lions fans. I can't believe I'm doing this. But this is a steal. And I'm gonna tell you why. Let's say you don't know anything about scouting. Let's say you don't know anything about how to how to grade out a prospect on the college level. And to be honest, most people don't. The simplest, easiest way to look at a college player and determine how he's going to translate to the NFL is, does he look like a man among boys? And I believe it was the Sugar Bowl. Baylor played, I want to say Georgia. I believe it was an SEC team. I'm almost positive. It was Georgia. I believe it was Georgia. It was a couple of years ago. He looked like a man playing against SEC corners. Mims is 6'3", 205. And then he goes to the combine, had a 45. The 45-inch vertical is more impressive than the 4.35, believe it or not, because what you want out of a big receiver like that is you want explosiveness. Can he get to jump ball? Well, the 45-inch vertical, he can. Now, I remember a player by the name of Chris Conley had very similar numbers at the combine, but he wasn't very productive. And I was excited when the Chiefs drafted him. He just didn't really pan out. The athleticism never showed up. But I watched Chris Conley play a lot, and I didn't feel that he was a 4.35 player. I watched Mims, and he is a 4.35 player. The speed you can see on tape. If you told me Chris Conley ran a 4.55 at the combine, I would have believed it because I watched him at Georgia. He looked like a 4.55 guy, but he ran a 4.35 at the combine. His grade went from a 7th round pick. The Chiefs took him in the 3rd, and that's where he probably should have gone. He didn't pan out, and there was some other things that turned NFL teams off, like he already had plans for after his NFL career. He wants to go into filmmaking, and he was putting a lot of time and effort into that, and that turned some NFL teams off. Why it didn't turn Kansas City off, because they thought, hey, this is a smart guy. He's got a good head on his shoulders. We need intelligent players, and he wasn't a bust. He just didn't pan out, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think he's he went to Jacksonville. He was with Houston. I'll be honest, I don't know what team he's on now. Denzel Mims is different. At best, you're getting your number 2 wide receiver. And at worst, I think that what you're getting is a guy that you release Jameson Williams when Jameson Williams comes back. And I wanted him. I really thought Kansas City should have taken him in the 1st round. I really believe that, because I really thought with the right team and the right scheme, he could be dynamic, and that's what you're getting. I think worst case scenario, you get number 2 guy, or best case scenario, you get number 2 wide receiver. And by the way, he's talented enough that he should be at least the number 2. The situation with the Jets was not even close to ideal. You're going to a team with a defensive-minded head coach. It's a defensive-minded team. Since he's been there, I think he's had 3 different offensive coordinators. So going to Detroit, this is a steal. This is the type of move that championship teams make. Why isn't he feeling positive about it, even without saying the deal is null and void? If he doesn't make the roster, it's a good lottery ticket win, in my opinion. Yeah, it really is, because when I look at the Detroit Lions wide receivers, except for Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm seeing a bunch of guys that really just aren't that good. I remember a couple of years ago, Luke G was trying to tell me, no, they got all these receivers that can do these different things, and it's going to plan out. I'm like, Luke, no, these guys, if you can only do like 1 or 2 routes really good, that doesn't make you a good wide receiver. Denzel Mims is a very, very good football player. He just didn't pan out with the Jets. And I don't know if it was injuries, but I'm looking at the New York Jets, and it just seems like they multiple offensive coordinators. It just didn't seem to work out. I would blame more the Jets coaching staff. Now, keep in mind, Garrett Wilson panned out, but he was also a first-round pick, where Mims, second or third, I can't remember off the top of my head. I literally just looked it up and forgot. But, yeah, this is a huge win for the Lions with no downside. So what? You cut him in. Here's the thing. I think you guarantee he makes the team. Jameson Williams comes back, and if he comes back and he's 100%, he can integrate him into the offense and it's an improvement. You can just cut Mims, eat the draft pick. Who cares? No, this is a great move by the Detroit Lions. I cannot undersell this. I cannot oversell this enough. This is a great move. And it wouldn't surprise me if he's a big part of this offense. Wouldn't surprise me at all. He gives you a deep threat, and unlike Jameson Williams, he has some size. He can get those jump balls, and this is a really, really good move. Matter of fact, you know what? You tell Luke G, if you don't want him, send him to Kansas City, because Kansas City thought that they were getting DeAndre. Chiefs fans thought they were getting DeAndre Hopkins. I don't believe that was ever really a case. I don't believe Kansas City is really interested in DeAndre Hopkins. That's just my opinion. I was actually planning on talking a lot about DeAndre Hopkins, but this was such a great move by the Detroit Lions. I never want to come across as somebody who's just pandering to my Lions fans. I'm not that guy. At least I hope I'm not. But this was a genius move by the Lions. And to be honest with you, the Jets didn't want him. They were going to release him, so it's really kind of a win-win. You get rid of a player who didn't want to be there. You got Alan Lazard. You got rid of another receiver. I don't know why you did that. You traded him to Cleveland, but keep in mind you're doing that so you can get draft capital to get Rodgers. That's a good move for the Cleveland Browns, by the way. So Luke keeps saying they failed to address the defense since Holmes took over. Even though there's only two guys on the roster, and Holmes didn't pay Will Harrison, Julian Okwara. He paid Walker and R. Okwara. Well, I disagree. I mean, you got the second pick of Hutchinson. Okay. That was a smart move. I thought it was a no-brainer. All right. You get James Houston in the 6th round. And then the kid out of Alabama, Brian Branch, that was a great draft pick. I thought the Chargers would snag him at 21 because the Chargers free safety actually retired during the offseason. Chargers still didn't address that. I don't even know what the Chargers are planning on doing at free safety, which is kind of funny because who's your biggest rival in the AFC West right now? Well, it's Kansas City. They got this guy, number 15. He does things, and you have a hole at free safety. You didn't even address it. Brian Branch would step in and be a starting free safety with the Chargers. You guys got him, what, in the second round, mid-second round? And here's the best part is CJ doesn't work out. Let's just say it doesn't work out. Well, you guys are a replacement right there. And if it does work out, you have both these guys. And here's the thing, they can play multiple positions. They can play corner. They can play safety. They can play either side of the safety. They can play strong safety. They can play free safety. You can do so many different things here. And those are good pickups. I liked Okudah a lot more than you guys did, but you didn't waste any time getting rid of him. I thought that was smart. You reached for Jack Campbell. That is a reach. It is a reach, but this is a guy that's going to come in and probably be your starting middle linebacker. And I said this before the draft. I said he's a guy that's going to come in. He's going to be 125, 3-3. He's going to have 125 tackles. He's probably going to have 3 sacks. He's probably going to have 3 interceptions. He's going to be very solid. And a team like the Detroit Lions, I was really struggling at linebacker. I get the move. I still think you could have traded down and got him, but I mean, you get a player that you liked. So who cares that it's a reach? I mean, big deal. Who cares what Dan says? We got a good player. And yeah, I disagree with that because you did address the defense. You addressed it. You addressed it in the draft. And then you addressed it in free agency. The guy that me and you disagreed upon, the pick out of Kentucky. The pick out of Kentucky that you reached for in the second round, you disagree with that, but you still got him. You still got him. He was a player that, like, he wasn't going to contribute year one. What's year two now? Ozeki defensive tackle out of Washington. He's a guy who could still pan out. Alan McNeil was a good draft pick. Actually, McNeil's turning out to be a really good draft pick. So yeah, I think he did do some. And keep in mind, look at the blueprint of the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, we're gonna have a great offense, a middle of the pack defense with some studs. Well, it's not a fair comparison, but we got Chris Jones, you guys got Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, the blue, it really looks like, and by the way, you guys have John Dorsey. So the blueprint that the Chiefs did, you guys are doing. Teams are now switching to saying, you know what, we're going to try to score 30 a game, and we're going to have a defense to try to keep you around 24. Teams aren't trying to build the 85 Bears anymore. And all you have to do is, do you need the 85 Bears defense? No, you don't. You need a middle of the pack defense. That's exactly what Kansas City had. So I can understand that, but I think you have to look at this number one, look at this trade in the vacuum, not factoring the D into it. Number two, building O to as great as possible, and then working on the D seems to be the way right now. You know what? I didn't even need to say that anything. Keys nailed it. Keys Mims doesn't stop the run, and Luke doesn't seem to comprehend the last 10 games after the scheme change. The Lions only gave up rush yards to quarterbacks, and you can stop that by adding to the back seven. Well, Jack Campbell's going to help with that. I mean, Jack Campbell's really going to help with that. Yeah, Mims. I wanted him that year. I wanted the Chiefs to take him in round one because he would have been really great. Maybe. I mean, that's hard to say. Corey, I'm glad you're back. You're definitely, yeah, I am. I am really a lot higher on Arizona than a lot of people, and the reason why is that I love Kazir White. I mean, when the Chargers got rid of him, and the Eagles last year signed him for nothing, I said that he's really going to help out the Eagles, and this is such a very underrated signing that the Eagles had. People really overlooked it, but I was pretty much doing cartwheels. I'm like, yes, because I think he was something like 8th in the NFL in tackles his final year at the Chargers. Chargers didn't even try to sign him. I'm like, yes, Chargers being Chargers. I mean, this dude does everything on the football field. And for those of you that don't know, Kazir White, former Charger, goes to the Eagles. A big part of why the Eagles went to a Super Bowl last year, starting linebacker, and now he signs for Arizona. Nobody's talking about it, but it's such a big deal. You know why it's a big deal? I'm a little more excited. Isaiah Simmons played high school football 10 minutes this way, like that way. So, and you know what Isaiah Simmons played at? I think it's Olathe East. He played safety. He played at Clemson, safety. You know what he's finally playing in Arizona, safety. Yeah, I know he's 6'3", 240, but he runs a 4.36. Play him as natural position, but you needed linebackers when they got linebackers. So, by the way, one thing that I can guarantee you on is let's just say Arizona tanks, not on purpose. I don't think teams tank on purpose. Let's just say Arizona goes, 3-14. Okay. Let's just say it happens. All right. And they have number one pick in the draft. They're going to trade it. They're not drafting Caleb Williams or was it Drake Moye, the North Carolina quarterback. Don't be surprised. I'm telling you right now, Alex Van Dyke out of Miami may end up as a first round quarterback as well. The Cardinals are going to do the same exact thing. Look at the contract. You can't trade Kyler Murray. You can't do it. Look at the contract. You have to do something really crazy. So yeah, I am more positive on Arizona, and don't give my I think Gannon can do some really creative things with that defense. By the way, Gannon and Kazir White work together, and I think that I think that they have a plan for what they want to do defensively. And another thing is that there's reports that Kyler Murray expects to play week 1. He expects to start, and I love it. And it sounds like Kyler Murray said, you know what? I'm sick of being the guy who's made fun of for playing Call of Duty. I'm sick of hearing the contract talks. I'm going to show everybody. Kyler Murray is him, Eric Dickerson. Trying to think. There's a handful of other players. I know him and Eric Dickerson can make a case for being the greatest Texas high school football player of all time. The greatest Texas high. That's a huge statement if you're not familiar with Texas high school football. Kyler Murray may be the greatest Texas high school football player of all time. And Kyler Murray's upside is off the charts. I'm not sure Gannon's the right coach for your team, but yeah. All right. I'm ranting a lot today. I love the move personally. Kind of fits to bring the talent in. It just didn't work somewhere. It's a great move. I can't believe Luke G wasn't just doing cartwheels. The one big thing that you could say is that he doesn't play special teams. So who gives a fuck? This draft maybe had 15 guys that were worth a first round grade. Every pick in the back, half of the draft was reached. The Chiefs reached in the first round. I did not like the Chiefs' first round draft pick at all. It's actually funny. Their second round pick, Rashid Rice, I liked a lot better. But of course, he threw up in off-season training camp, so people are calling him a bust now. It's like, serious? Dan read my comment without reading it out loud and plagiarized. Josh Paschal. Yeah. I love, but I'm gonna explain something. I love Josh Paschal. I just didn't like him I think it was 46. I didn't like him at 46 because with the defense that Detroit's running, he has to basically redshirt a year. And this was not a team that I really thought should be redshirting second round picks. I mean, no disrespect, but if you're Philadelphia and you're drafting a guy 10th overall, like they did, and he's going to redshirt, that makes sense. Last year, they drafted Cam Jurgens. They redshirted him for a year. It worked out. Philly went to a Super Bowl. You could say maybe it didn't work out because they lost, but when you're a 3-win team and you're drafting players, you're going to redshirt. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. But he's past the redshirt phase and he's ready to go. Levi O, his back injury goes back. He's a guy that I know he's a high pick. He was a high second round pick. You might just be better off just cutting him. When they drafted him, I thought he was going to be part of a 4-3. Let's just call it even front. I gotta get in the habit. I'm just going to start saying even and odd fronts. He doesn't fit. I think seriously, he's a guy that will probably get cut or seriously, I would look, if I was the Detroit Lions, I'd be trying to move him right now. It wouldn't surprise me if they're making moves to trade him right now. There could be a team with a injured defense. I would love him. By the way, Uzurike, I would love him in Kansas City. I really would. I thought he'd be a great fit for what the Chiefs are doing, but now it's kind of weird because the Chiefs are switching to more of a odd front. So maybe he doesn't fit. So it's hard for me to get past beep. Drake, man. I gotta get this name. Yeah. We have a whole football season before I start going over the draft. And I'm not even gonna pretend this year that I'm gonna try and watch college football. I'm not going to watch college football this year. I'm just going to get ready for the draft. I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to watch college football this year. So, man, I remember having the Simmons conversation, kept hearing he's a linebacker. All the while I kept saying he's a prototypical box nickel safety. Funk, it's funny. I remember that. And Funk kept on telling everybody, he goes, listen, Simmons, Detroit's going to draft him and they're going to play him at safety. And I was on board. And I remember the Cardinals drafted him and they said, we're going to put him in outside linebacker. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And he doesn't look comfortable playing close to the line of scrimmage. The further he gets away from the line of scrimmage, the better he plays. And this year they're going to play him at safety. And what I really like is you get a guy like Budda Baker who can do everything on the football field. Now you get a guy who's physically the complete opposite, but you can do everything on the football field. It's kind of exciting. And if Kyler Murray comes back week 1, everybody thinks that the Cardinals, there's somebody I have a lot of respect for in the gambling community. He put a pretty I have to look up the amount. I know it was over 1,000 on the Cardinals under 5.5. And I think there's a lot of people because no team's been dropping more than the Cardinals under if you do any sports betting. But I think there's a lot of people are going to lose some money on the Cardinals if Kyler Murray plays week 1. I mean, that's a team nobody's given any credit to. And I'm looking at that defense. And I'm like, man, they got some players, man. They got some players. Name freeze. The linebacker out of Tulsa they drafted in the first round last year, one of my favorite players. He had a great rookie season. And because the Arizona Cardinals won 4 games, nobody's talking about it. But this is a guy who could be a superstar. So when we get the first pick, we're trading down for a historic package and landing Marvin Harrison Jr. as well as a defensive star with our other pick. Now, keep in mind, you get the Houston Texans first and third round picks, and I think you're getting a top 15 pick. So let's just say you pick 1 in 15. To be honest, it could be higher. But let's just say 1 in 15. I don't think you're going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. because I think he goes second overall. Now, he could go third if Drake Maye goes, if it goes 1, 2, and that could happen. But I think Harrison will go 2, so you're not going to get him. Ohio State is another wide receiver that could go top 5 as well. They got another wide receiver that could go top 5. They also you have another name freeze. The tight end out of Georgia. You guys could get him, and he may be worth a top 5 pick. There's a left tackle at Penn State who looks like he's going to be a star. This is going to be a good draft. Yeah. Kyler Murray never lost at Allen, Texas, and is still undefeated in Jerry World to this day. Yeah. Battle of first round picks: Hutch versus Kaloftis in week 1. Who wins? I think Aiden Hutchinson's hands down a better player. I don't even think it's close. And it's a much harder matchup too. You have to understand something. We have 2 new tackles, and Karlaftis is going against one of the best offensive lines in the National Football League. So I definitely think Hutchinson, but Karlaftis is a guy that I remember the first half of the season, people were calling him a bust. I'm like, are you kidding? Are you serious? It's like 8 weeks. Come on. And last half of the season, he really turned it up. I have high hopes for Karlaftis, but I think Aiden Hutchinson, he could have a monster year. Because I think the Lions could do some interesting things. I'm not sold on Aaron Glenn. It wouldn't surprise me if Hutchinson, has like a 9-sack season and it's okay. But he could have a monster year too. So I'm expecting it. Yeah, I keep stealing your statement. So you were huge on Karlaftis. I was not as huge. And the first half of the season, it was kind of, but the second half of the season, he was really good. He was really, really, really good. No disrespect to Lions D, but they're nowhere near the Eagles, and we all saw what their D was able to do against the Chiefs' offensive line. Do you really think Smith and Taylor are way worse than Brown and Wiley? Not worse. they're just going to be different, you know. Jawan Taylor, I want to find out because number one, I don't think Smith's guaranteed a starting spot. A lot of people just are locking him in as the starting tackle. I'm not so sure. It could be Lucas Nang on the right side and Taylor on the left side. I'm really excited to see this. But when you open up the season with two new tackles, that bothers me, especially when the Lions late in the year were really able to ramp up their pass rush. But the one thing about this game that does scare me is that the Detroit Lions easily have an advantage with their offensive line. The Detroit Lions offensive line is really, really good. And I think the Chiefs defensive line is good, but like if you have to gauge which side has an advantage, it's a Detroit offensive line. I'm gonna break this down later on here as we get closer to the season opener, which is, what was it, 6 weeks away? Football season's right around the corner. How great is that? And this is going to be a great game. But the Lions, I think what they need to do in order to beat Kansas City is play ball control. Remember how you beat Peyton Manning is to keep him on the bench, and that's what they're going to do. Oh, man, Perry, what's up, brother? Levi O is an injury bust. Yeah, it kind of looks like that. It wouldn't surprise me if he either gets cut or traded. I loved him coming out of college. I thought it'd be great for what Spags wants to do on defense. And then when he was drafted with McNeil, I thought there would be better fits for an even front, not the odd front that they're playing. So I didn't know where he fits in. I was like, is he going to bulk up and play a 5 technique? And I thought that was kind of a waste. Probably a player just needs to move on. And then some guys just can't stay healthy in the NFL. I mean, there's a long list of players that were really good in college that simply couldn't stay healthy, and he might be one of those. Tweeted us earlier, but Karlaftis ended the regular season weeks 12 through 18 with 5.5 sacks, 7 tackles for losses, 15 tackles. During that stretch, only 6 other players had those numbers: Chris Jones, Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett. Yeah, last half of the season, he played really good. And the bad news is this year he needs to be a full-time starter, and he needs to play that way for 17 games. He really needs to step up this year. So Cam Hayward, Josh Sweat, and J.J. Watt. Josh Sweat is a guy that I would love to see him in a Chiefs uniform. Love to see him in Xavier Collins. Major draft crush on that guy. Had a great rookie season. Nobody's talking about it because Arizona only won 4 games. Had a really good rookie season. Really, really good rookie season. And he's a guy that has just a monster upside, but nobody's going to talk about him until Arizona starts winning some games. Really good football player, Xavier Collins. For those of you that don't know, Xavier Collins, just remember that name. You're not going to hear about him until Arizona starts winning some games. Rookie linebacker out of Tulsa, massive upside. Love this guy's game. Love this guy's game. If the Chiefs don't come ready to play week 1 and the Lions do, it could be a win for the Lions. I agree with you, but the one thing is Kansas City does come ready to play week 1 and after a bye. That's been an Andy Reid staple. And I think that a lot of people feel that the Lions are a team you're overlooking. That's not the case anymore. And this is something that's going to be really hard for the Lions fans to adjust to because they've been an underdog for so long. They're no longer the underdog. People are not overlooking the Lions. Here's the thing. People, you're not getting this anymore. The days that people overlooking the Lions are over. You're going to get the Lions' best shot. People are paying attention to the Lions finishing 8-2 at the end of the season. You're going to hear this over and over again. Go to any sports book, and the Lions are favored by every single sports book by a big margin to win that division. They're no longer underdogs. You're not going to be overlooked. And Lions fans keep saying, well, Kansas City may come out flat. Kansas City doesn't come out flat week 1. They won 8 straight. They're going to be ready to play, and nobody's overlooking the Lions anymore. No Lions fans, Chiefs fans are doing this too, so don't feel bad. But you want to act like you're being overlooked. No, you're not. NFL teams know that the Lions are building something really, really good. Kansas City's not going to come out flat. Keys, week 1, I don't expect any defense in the league to look good. Plus, the Lions are more than likely to have 5 DBs that have not played together, except for Jacobs and Joseph and Jacobs and Walker. Doesn't seem like a big recipe for week 1. I agree, Funk. I think as the season goes, they start looking pretty good, though. Perry says we need a pass rush. No secondary can cover long without pass rush. Well, I really like Aiden Hutchinson. I kept on saying this is a no-brainer. Number 2 pick in the draft, Aiden Hutchinson. I don't think you can do anything else. Because in that draft, I kept on saying the Giants were going to go with the left tackle out of Alabama who went to the Giants at 7, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. Let's just say, was it Trayvon Walker? Let's just say Trayvon Walker was available and Aiden Hutchinson was available. Both players were available too. I still think the Lions would have taken Hutchinson. It has nothing to do with the fact they played at Michigan. It's just that they needed a guarantee solid player, and they got one. And I think he exceeded expectations, to be perfectly honest. I think he really exceeded expectations. And James Houston's a guy I think is always going to be if Detroit's smart, they'll keep him in as rotational pass rusher, not an every down player. And he's going to do pretty well. I think he's a guy that's going to get like 7 to 10 sacks every year as long as he stays in Detroit. Now, keep in mind, he may price himself out of Detroit, play on a odd front defense, which I think he's better suited for. And, he may excel. From what I'm gathering of Detroit is I think you're going to see a lot more even fronts this year, or 4-3. That may not be true. Lions fans will have to tell me that, but I got a feeling you'll see some switching in the scheme. And that's something I think that's kind of going through the NFL right now. I think NFL teams are kind of I see that in Kansas City too, where Kansas City ran an even front or a 4-3, and I think you're seeing a lot of more 3-4 type fronts in the league. And I think teams are no longer going to be just 3-4, 4-3. I think you're going to see a lot of different schemes defensively. So that's something that's kind of going on in the NFL. My problem with Simmons being moved to safety is you already have 2 very good safeties, so he's going to have to live in a box right where he was as a nickel corner. Yeah, I mean, you got Budda Baker. I forgot the other safety that you got, and he's not bad either. But a lot of teams are playing like a 3 safety role, and that's what I think that you're going to do. I thought Vance Joseph did a good job last year, just putting him as a inside linebacker, but put him more in pass coverage and kept them away from the line of scrimmage. Now, keep in mind, he did have 4 sacks, but the one thing that stood out to me is that the further back he gets, the more comfortable he looks. And the best part is that if Simmons doesn't pan out, you just get rid of him and you kind of move on. And bottom line, the point is, because you have all that extra draft capital, you can move on without him, and you really don't take a loss because you got your stud linebackers. You hit a home run with Xavier Collins, and I don't know how much you know about Kazir White, but this is a very good football player. So I mean, you got a couple stud linebackers. So if Simmons pans out, great. If he doesn't pan out, who cares? It's kind of a win-win because you're putting him at. And in my video, I said this, and it's kind of like apples to oranges. But remember Hassan Reddick? You draft him, played him at outside linebacker, it didn't work. You put him at inside linebacker, it didn't work. Then finally, you had to put him at defensive end, and it worked. And that's kind of how I see Isaiah Simmons, is that you're moving him around, but you're finally playing him in the position that he's supposed to play, and I think it's going to pan out. Another thing is that let's say you have to move Budda Baker, and you don't have to because he reported to camp and everything, but let's say you get an offer. I got an offer you can't refuse. Oh God, I shouldn't do. I'll never do impressions again. Sorry. Let's say somebody wants to give you something crazy for Budda Baker. I talked about the Chargers earlier, that they need a safety. Wouldn't the Chargers give you something ridiculous? The Chargers, by the way, could offer you something ridiculous because the Chargers have 4 wide receivers, and they don't need them. I mean, let me ask you this: how would you feel if Budda Baker, comes for Keenan Allen in a draft pick. That's not unrealistic. That really could happen. It could come from Mike Williams. Remember, they drafted Quentin Johnson in the first round, and he's already overtaken Joshua Palmer, which I find a little disturbing. Now, Joshua Palmer was a pretty good player last year, a raw prospect, but you may be able to trade Budda Baker for one of those Charger wide receivers plus a draft pick. That's not bad. That's kind of that, and keep in mind, you got Isaiah Simmons. So ranting about the Cardinals a lot today. Ranting about the Cardinals. Yeah, of all the things I expected, I didn't expect to rant about the Cardinals, but I am jacked up. I'm not worried about 2 new tackles. I have some confidence in Andy Heck, and between Heck and Reed, I know how the hell to protect the scheme, their offensive tackles. I've been rewatching the Super Bowl all day today. Yeah, well, of course, remember, Keys. Now, remember this is the most important thing. If the field was good, the Eagles would have won by 60. All right, so if the field was good, the Eagles would have won by 60. They would have sacked Mahomes realistically 27 times. Remember that. So, by the way, if you're not aware of what I'm talking about, Eagles fans and players are still complaining about the field. So, but I do want to see how your offensive tackles deal with James Houston's pro hot move. Dude's a problem. He's averages sack in every 10 rush snaps. I am scared about it. I'm scared about both your edge rushers, and I'm scared about your defense because I think you're going to throw some different looks in front of 2 tackles that weren't there last year. And one thing about Kansas City is that they run an extremely complicated offense. It's not a standard offense, and it's not even a standard NFL offense. That's why I'm really concerned. The interior 3 is going to be fine. All right. The interior 3 is going to be fine, but I am worried about those tackles. And bottom line, I Chiefs fans don't even know who the starting tackles are going into training camp. They're just kind of, as a matter of fact, Juwan Short. So we signed him to a 4-year, $80 million deal. I think it's like $60 million. Give him all this money. No, he's been practicing at left and right tackle. That bothers me. I want to know where these guys are at. And Donovan Brown was slowing down. Donovan Smith was slowing down. And he was a cap casualty. At one point in time, he was a pretty good player. But, if you have to say, hey, listen, Donovan Smith's your left tackle, Jawan Taylor's your right tackle, I'm feel good about Taylor on the right side. Donovan Smith, I'm not feeling safe at all. I'm kind of hoping that, Lucas Nang. We drafted a guy in the 4th round out of Oklahoma who's been turning some heads, and I don't want a 4th round pick covering Mahomes' backside. Worst case scenario, I think Jawan Taylor may move over to the left side, but we'll have to find out. With the way teams don't practice anymore, teams just have more rust to shake off early, and they do. And usually what happens is, believe it or not, traditionally, the first game of the season is traditionally more of a lower scoring game. So, but I think this year may be a little different because you have 2 high scoring teams. I know with Kansas City, their goal is to go out there and put 30 up, and I think Detroit's going to be ready for a shootout. And I think Detroit's going to just open up a whole bag of tricks too. Wouldn't surprise me if we have 4th and 7, they go for it early, a fake punt if any team punts in the game. I think you're gonna have some really, really, really good things. Perry, that is not an Andy Reid coach team. Houston played in the last 7 games, had 8 sacks. I may wonder people, not too many. Collins is entering his 3rd year and prime for an elite season. You know what? I apologize. I thought last year was his rookie season. I got that mixed up then. So, but yeah, Xavier Collins is amazing. I loved him coming out. Here's a dude. He's 6'4", he's 260. He had, I think it was a game, he had 2 pick sixes. He had a pick 6 last year. He looks like a defensive end. Now at the combine, he ran like a 4.7 something. So he doesn't have that elite speed, but at 260, the thing is though, he knows where to go. I'd rather have a guy who runs a 4.7 and knows where he's going and knows what to do rather than a guy who runs a 4.5 or in Isaiah Simmons' case, a 4.3 and doesn't know what the hell he's doing. So that's the thing about Xavier Collins. And he's just big dude, smart dude. I can't tell you how much of a man crush I have on Xavier Collins. Big man crush on Xavier Collins. Do you think the Cards will get back to their winning or they finish in the bottom five? I don't really know, but if Kyler Murray comes back and plays week 1 and they fix that defense, they could really surprise people, but I have no idea. And bottom line, if Kyler Murray when Kyler Murray doesn't play, you can almost count a loss for every game he doesn't play. Because he has such a unique skill set. He's the fastest quarterback I've ever seen. I've seen Randall Cunningham. I've seen Michael Vick. Kyler Murray's faster. The difference between Kyler Murray and Michael Vick and Randall Cunningham is that you could put Kyler Murray in a pocket, tell him, hey, you can't scramble, and he can go back there and just ding, 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 ding. He has that type of ability. It's really mind-boggling what he can do because it's funny because 40 years ago, they would have said, hey, you congratulations on winning the Heisman. So you want to play wide receiver or corner in the NFL? You know, I was thinking about this earlier today. Marcus Mariota, 40 years ago, they would have told him, hey, you can play wide receiver or safety. And to tell you the truth, I almost wonder if somebody told Marcus Mariota, listen, you can play quarterback in the NFL. But if you move the wide receiver, and I seriously think that, I think Marcus Mariota may have been better off playing wide receiver than quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, well, maybe you know what? I'm a crazy fucker. So Houston is not a surprise anymore. Let's see how he does with double teaming him or game planning for him. I lived in Jackson. I didn't know that. I lived in Jackson, Mississippi for 7 years, so I'm definitely rooting for Houston to keep it up, except the kids get to see. I think Aiden Hutchinson will be a good player. Yeah, I think so too. Could be better. Don't ask. Most Lions fans think our base is a 4-2 nickel. They can't comprehend that everything the Lions did second half of the season was based off a 3-4 under concept. Yeah, and I think that you're going to see more of a I think you're going to see more of a 3-4-4-3, more even odd front. So, and by the way, Funk did say this. Funk said, by the way, the comment is Perry, LOI said Hutch was probably going to be Ryan Kerrigan 2.0. I'm hoping we can pick up some solid veteran DT tackles when teams make cuts. And that's something that I'm kind of anxious to see because I think there's going to be, I think this preseason especially, we're going to see some players cut in salary cap moves. And that are going to make a difference elsewhere. And you know, Uzurike's one in Kansas City. CEH is a guy that I think could play for a different team. I think he's, you know, worn his welcome out. Denzel Mims would have been one. You know, it's going to be interesting. And by the fact, I wanted to talk about some of these other things, these other moves, but I also talked about the Chargers. You have Mike Williams and you got Keenan Allen. But, you know, with the emergence of Quentin Jefferson, apparently he's already the number 3 receiver. He leapfrogged Joshua Palmer. Could the Chargers make a move, get rid of a wide receiver? So yeah. Buda Baker is the heart and soul of this team. Anything we could trade for him would be a net loss on our end. I'm not so sure. And the reason why I say that is that if his plan isn't to stay in Arizona, get rid of him and get something of value for him. You know, if you got a player who doesn't want to be there, there's not much you can do. And that's kind of what you're getting because the guy who's the heart and soul of the team could become a cancer on the team. And if that's the case, you got to get rid of him. You just do. It just creates a problem. And it's a bad example because it didn't work out, but Roquan Smith, that's a situation that happened with Chicago. They were like, hey, look, we can't sign him. It's going to be a problem. Yeah, he's having a great year. Let's get some draft picks. And for the money that Baltimore paid Roquan Smith, they spent less and got 2 stud linebackers. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I completely get what you're saying. And by the way, Budda Baker is one of my favorite players. But if you remember, when they drafted him, they had the Honey Badger. And I remember thinking, this is like a Honey Badger clone. So is the plan to get rid of this guy? And then, remember at the time, the Honey Badger was the heart and soul of the Cardinals defense. So, I have no problem ranting on one or another team. I appreciate that we can focus on the Lions or Cardinals or Chiefs a whole show, and we still engage in the comments just as strongly. I try. I try not to go on rants, but it happens. I am jacked up. I was really just looking forward to this all week. It's been a long week. So I was really, really, really looking forward to this. So, yeah, Dan, like I said, I've been watching all 22 from the Super Bowl all day today. From what I've seen, the Eagles defenders are slipping because they can't see blockers knowing how to block. No, it was just the field, Keys. If the field was good, the Eagles would have had 34 sacks, at least. Slasher, Ryan Kerrigan is a very good player. Slasher, what is up, brother? I apologize because I was making fun of Eagles fans for talking about the turf and the slips. So, I apologize. But there was a lot of excuses about the turf for the Super Bowl. They're still coming up now. But Slasher, man, I am glad to see you, brother. I am very glad to see you. We were talking about some good things about the Eagles earlier. So I wasn't just saying bad things about the Eagles fan base. But, man, I'm glad to see you, man. Hopefully your Friday is as good as mine. Donovan Smith was injured. He also lost his left guard to retirement before the season began. He was blocking for a 45-year-old quarterback, and they had no running game. I'm not a Kool-Aid snorter, but I'm optimistic. At least until I see preseason games, I don't see any reason to have pause, Dan. I do. I do completely, because you get a guy entering year 10. I thought Orlando Brown was pretty good. I think we kind of disagree on how good Orlando Brown was, but it does scare me a little bit. It bothers me, Lucas Nang. He was a guy the Chiefs were really high on, and I remember Lucas Nang was drafted. That was my favorite pick. I'm like, this is a guy who's going to be the starting left tackle, and he just hasn't panned out. When Wiley replaced him on the right side last year, I was really disgruntled, and I'm thinking he may be a guy that's on the chop block, Lucas Nang, and that's going to be interesting to see what happens, because the 4th round pick out of Oklahoma, I can't think of the guy's name, he's been impressing people. So if he's your swing tackle, Lucas Nang, why not trade this kid? You may be able to get a 7th round pick. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but we were talking about Ozarike. And Nang Ozarike trade would make a lot of sense. You may say, Dan, Nang isn't really needed on the Lions offensive line. You may just draft him for depth. Luke, another place would be Washington. Washington make a move. And that's why I think this preseason is going to be really interesting, because I think there's going to be some players that are going to move. I think it's going to be a very interesting preseason. I'm pretty excited about it. I said when I was on your show, my prediction was that week 1 could look like a last time golf. Yeah, it could. I don't think 105 points are going to be scored. Keys, props to Andy and Mahomes for pulling it together in the second half, but this really isn't a bias. It was a field. If the field was not a waterside, the Eagles are going to need a Chiefs O-line, a problem. And keep in mind, it was a bad field. Nobody's debating it was a bad field, but both teams played on it. And that's kind of the thing. And also commenting on in late July, it's like, come on. If I'm the Eagles, I would be more like, hey, you don't want to see us again in the Super Bowl. But I get it. I mean, I get it. Since I'm on the winning side, it's easier for me to, but yeah, I get it. I mean, listen, we played Arizona week 1, and can't believe I'm drawing a blank. This is very embarrassing. Trent McDuffie, our 1st round pick, he was injured. He missed 6 to 8 weeks. And then our kicker, he was injured, and that caused a lot of problems. He was out for several weeks. That caused some problems. So we understand. I mean, it really, you're hosting a Super Bowl. The field shouldn't be a problem. Week 1, it was a problem. So hopefully that's something that the Arizona Cardinals fixed, because what they do, it's kind of unusual, is that they keep their turf in a different location and then they wheel the turf in. It's a little unusual because they actually use real grass instead of that synthetic turf, which it's kind of funny because I hear more and more players complaining about the synthetic turf, the synthetic grass than real grass. And then when you have real grass, you have problems that you have to be concerned about. But, it's been a long time since he's seen a game played in mud. And I kind of miss that. And you could say the product's not as good. It's not as aesthetic to watch and everything. But, man, that's what football is really about. I love seeing, players diving in the mud. It was fun, Different era, though. Keys, yeah, the Super Bowl is definitely different than when the Lions went to Carolina and the field was frozen. The Lions didn't even have the right cleats with them the first half. I didn't realize that was an issue. I didn't know that. By the way, if you're not aware, Carolina had something crazy. It was like 204 yards rushing in the first half, and I didn't know that, though. I didn't know that. The line had 70 plus sacks in the season. The best part of the team was instantly nullified as they stepped on the field. It'd be like the Chiefs' defensive line is no slouch either. And that if I remember right, Chris Jones had a sack, and for the most part he was going against some really good offensive line players. So I mean, Chris Jones got a sack, but the Eagles couldn't get a sack. Number 1 O versus number 2 D, and number 2 O versus number 1 D. But the Chiefs coaches were better. Eagles held Kansas City 8 offensive points in first half. Eagles scored 11 in second half. Blame the field, such a loser mentality. It's loser mentality, but it's the truth. Like I said, I respect Mahomes and Andy Reid for pulling it together, exposed defense, but you can clearly see Riddick and Sweat, especially slipping on multiple. No doubt they were, but Chris Jones made plays. So Keys, is all that money go on the over? Right now, I think the number, last time I looked at it, I think it's at 54.5. I mean, it's going up. And I'll talk about this a little more, but to tell you the truth, I kind of leaning towards the under. And the lower scoring the game, the better it is for the Lions, because I really think that the Lions' goal is to is to have 5-minute touchdown drives. And I think that you're going to see that a lot in the game. I think that you're going to see week 1 a very boring offense from the Detroit Lions, as I think the goal will be to just try to play ball control and keep away from the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. It wouldn't surprise me. And here's the deal. Let's just say the Lions get the ball first. Pay attention if the Lions try to shorten the game by snapping the ball with 3 seconds or less, or do they come out and just like guns blazing? Because it's kind of funny, because one of the things that Andy Reid doesn't get enough credit on is that when he had Alex Smith, they never snapped the ball with more than 5 seconds on the clock, because they wanted to play a slower game. Now, keep in mind, you had Tom Ali and Justin Houston on the other side, so the Chiefs played a lot of ball control. So, but they did it through the passing game, but they really tried to control the clock. And then you get Patrick Mahomes, and they did something completely different. They said, look, we're just going to go up and down the field, fast break 24/7, fast break, deep ball. Okay, you're going to put 2 safeties in the parking lot. Okay, dink and dunk with Patrick Mahomes. So it's going to be very interesting, but I fully expect Detroit to come out and play like some 1940s bullshit, like 2 running backs, maybe a fullback, 2 tight ends, goal line formation. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. A guy with 16 sacks and 3 others, 11 on the season, not having a single sack in the biggest game of the season look, nobody's debating this, but Chris Jones had a sack. Both teams played on the same field. And I'm not saying, here's the deal. Let's say the field was perfect. I still think the same thing would have happened. I really do. I think the Chiefs' offensive line just didn't get enough credit. It's a good offensive line. It really is. It really, really was. As the season went on, the Chiefs got better. I'm not so sure the Eagles did. Remember, Hurts. It was funny. Hurts, I don't think nobody talked about this, but Hurts wasn't 100% going into that game, and everybody knows Mahomes wasn't, but it's a little different with Patrick Mahomes playing on a bad ankle than Jalen Hurts because running's such a big part of his ability, and there's probably not 5 performances in Super Bowl history where a quarterback played that well and lost. Roger Staubach, Super Bowl 13, probably the best performance of a losing quarterback. Put up 31 against Steel Curtain. That was the game Jackie Smith dropped the pass in the end zone. Yeah. And everybody remembers. I know that because I did the top 10 tight ends of all time video, and I put a clip of that. But the greatest performance in a Super Bowl loss would probably be Roger Staubach in that game. Put up 31 against Steel Curtain, should have put up 35. Game should have went into overtime. Do the Cowboys will improve state? The Cowboys are kind of an interesting team, to tell you the truth. I hate to give you a loser answer here, but the truth is I don't know. And the reason why is I think losing Ezekiel Elliott means a lot. And the reason why is because you're increasing the workload on Tony Pollard, who's not a big back. All right. So Tony Pollard's a guy that he looked like he was the better running back, but he's only touching the ball 10 to 15 times a game. Well, now he's got touched the ball 15 to 20. A lot of the pressure comes on Dak Prescott. I mean, you got CeeDee Lamb. You lost Dalton Schultz. How big of an effect will that have? I'm not sure. Brandon Cooks, number 1 wide receiver. He was the number 1. In Dallas will be number 2. Can he stay healthy? And that's been an issue throughout his career. Michael Gallup, does he recover back from injury? The guy that they drafted last year out of South Alabama, drawing a complete blank on his name, Jalen Tolbert, does he advance? The Stephen Gilmore, a lot of Cowboys feel like this is, we're getting Stephen Gilmore. He was defensive MVP, but they forget he's defensive MVP about 5 years ago. And at 34, he's just not the same guy. A lot of people are talking about, Diggs, the Cowboys Dig, I'm drawing a blank on his first name. They're talking about him being a shutdown corner because he gave up, because he had 10 interceptions. But the truth is he gave up a lot of big plays. People are looking at the Cowboys. I've heard a lot of Cowboys saying, we have best corners in the NFL. I'm like, really? Are you sure? Micah Parsons, does he continue to improve, or did teams, figure him out? There's a lot of questions with the Cowboys. In my opinion, I think that I would expect them to be a little better, but they may not win as many games. Remember, Dak Prescott went down for 6 games, and they were 5-1 without him. So in those same games, I could see them being a little better. So, but still being like 4-2. I'm sorry, I got my statement mixed up. I could see them being a better team, but going 4-2 in that same stretch. So they may not win as many games, but I do think that overall, when I look at Dallas, I see a better team on paper, but does it translate? And I don't have a lot of faith in McCarthy. So, yeah, I think it's ridiculous when anybody takes stats that are descriptive and try to make them predictive. Would New York Giants regress this year? This is all based on one big thing: the Saquon Barkley sign, because without Barkley, that team is in a lot of trouble. And they did add Cole Beasley, smart move, and James Robinson. And the James Robinson move, I think, is genius, because I always liked James Robinson, and he can work with this Giants team because they have a big offensive line, and he's more of a power back than Barkley. He's not as big as Barkley, but he's more of a power back. I kind of like James Robinson going to the Giants, but they don't have a number 1 wide receiver. I do like Cole Beasley. Was it Darren Sharper? No, I used a safety for Green Bay. I can't believe I said Darren Waller. I'm sorry. The tight end from the Raiders, how much of an impact will he have? Because if he stays healthy, he could have a massive impact. The front seven has unlimited potential. They got all sorts of studs on that front seven, all sorts of studs. But you're asking me a question. Mike Kafka is going to be an NFL head coach soon. He's the Giants offensive coordinator. Does Daniel Jones get his $160 million and decide that he doesn't want to try anymore? Because he ran the ball a lot and he played with a lot of guts last year, but is he trying to stay healthy, protect, that $160 million? I'm not giving you a straight answer. I personally think the Barkley situation's ugly. I really think it's ugly. And if he signs and he's integrated and they work everything out, then yeah. If Barkley sits out, they have to regress. I don't think the Giants are going to make the playoffs, but there's a lot of things to like. They have a great front seven. Barkley's the most athletic running back in the NFL. And they have a really good offensive line. They really, now keep in mind, I'm also banking on the guy's name who I forgot the numbers. Evan Neal. They're banking on Evan Neal to really, because he didn't play well and then he was injured. But year two, that all the tools are there to be a dominant right tackle. All the tools are there. So Funk, I would, but I probably don't bet. But I'd probably take the Wanda Morris. Yeah. Making a lot of news in camp early on. Oh my God. It's my girl. Apparently I am behind on comments. Hey, my man, Dan. And this is my girl, Cheryl. I love this girl. She's married, but I love her anyway. She has a YouTube channel. I should have a link below, but I don't. But she has a YouTube channel for fashion, fragrance, and most of it's towards women. But she did do a men's fragrance show that I really liked. And but I strongly suggest everybody check her channel out because she has some good advice to give on a lot of different things. And I love her videos. Her videos make mine look bad, to tell you the truth, but I love Cheryl. She is fantastic. Subscribe to her YouTube channel. Ning's health issues also scare me. I think they stop you from getting anything in a trade other than maybe something conditional. Yeah, I know. And I know. And you can't bank on him, but I remember coming out of TCU, I was convinced he was going to be a stud, and I was so disappointed. Yeah. Will Jacksonville take another step forward with Trevor L? I think so. He's my pick to be MVP because we haven't even talked about DeAndre Hopkins signing with Tennessee yet, but Trevor Lawrence is my MVP pick this year. I think he's going to win MVP. I think Jacksonville's going to have that division wrapped up early December. Jacksonville is a team that could be really, really, really good. They have a lot of speed and athleticism on defense. They have weapons on offense, and I think Trevor Lawrence does take that step up. I think he becomes I got him winning MVP this year. I think Jacksonville is going to be a very, very good football team. Week 2 is going to be a big game. The Kansas City Chiefs travel down to Jacksonville week 2. I also have UCF Jaguar. He did a breakdown on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. He's agreed to come on my show week 2, and we can debate Chiefs Jaguars. That could be a very key game because Jacksonville wins that game. That game could be home field advantage in the AFC week 2. Big game week 2 for Kansas City. But to answer that question, yes. Every other question you've asked so far, I'm kind of like, But Trevor Lawrence, yeah, he's my MVP. He's my pick to win MVP. Yeah. Trent McDuffie and Harrison Butker missed like 6 to 8 weeks. Thanks to Arizona field issues week 1. Do I think Jalen Carter and I forgot, is it Jerry? I forgot who it is. And Jay Davis have a big impact. Carter, no. I think basically Carter's going to redshirt. But Jordan Davis, that's it. Jordan Davis, I think they're going to use a lot. And Jordan Davis, for those of you that don't remember, oh God, I love this dude. This dude is 340, but he can move. He's a problem because he's kind of like, for those of you old school guys, he's like Haloti Nada, who actually was 6'3", 340, very similar build. And he played a 5 technique, even though he's built like a 0 technique, because he's just got his crazy athleticism. A lot of people thought, I remember Luke Jesus saying he was a space eater, and I didn't think that at all. I think you can use this guy up and down the defensive line. Jalen Carter, I don't think is going to have an impact this year. Jordan Davis could. The Eagles run kind of a hybrid, even and odd fronts. But keep in mind, one thing about the Eagles that bothers me is they lost a lot of their coaching staff. A lot of their coaching staff, especially on the defensive side of the ball, is now in Arizona, and they also lost their offensive coordinator. So a lot of people are just penciling the Eagles as the NFC favorites, and I'm like, a lot of people are going to be gunning for them. Jalen Hurts got all that money. Maybe he doesn't want to run as hard. Maybe instead of trying to gut it out the last couple of weeks of the season or in the playoffs like he did last year, maybe he's looking at that investment and saying, you know what, maybe I'll take an extra week off, because I'm trying to get I don't know what the guaranteed number is. I think it's like 150 or 160. It's really high, and he deserves every penny. I mean, let's be very clear, but maybe he doesn't want to give it that extra effort. I've seen it happen before. And by the way, I'm so sorry. I'm down on comments. So I'm not trying to debate in a toxic way, but it's actually how I feel. And if the same happened to Chiefs, I would be saying the same thing. No. You have a very good point. I was making fun of some of the Eagles fans and players earlier, and I probably shouldn't have, but I was just having some fun. And I get what you're saying. And bottom line, though, both teams played on the same field. I get it. I mean, you could say if it was a heavy wind game, it'd be an advantage, for the Eagles that could be more of a running team than the Kansas City Chiefs. I get what you're saying. So, and you know what? This offseason, the Eagles lost a lot more than the Chiefs did. The Chiefs, I can make a strong case that the Chiefs are coming back better. I don't think they are, but I can make that argument. The Eagles, every offseason I go plus minus, the Eagles were definitely a minus, even though the draft was amazing, even though I love their draft. You just lose such a large part of your coaching staff. And you also, Kazir White, very underrated signing. I thought that was a genius sign. He's with Arizona right now with Gannon. Very few people brought that up. The field was so slippery, the Eagles wide receivers made defenders miss every play. Hurts took off on scrambles every play, as I would have been smart to do. The defenders couldn't get any traction. Also, we have to take away multiple touchdowns and fourth down conversions away for the Eagles for those QB scrums or Kinsey's defensive line was at a large disadvantage over the field. Overall under, Josh McD keeps his job with the Raiders. Oh, this is a good one. I'm gonna level with you. I think he stays with the Raiders, and it's more because the Raiders right now are cash poor. That's part of the reason why Tom Brady bought a minority ownership, is because the Raiders are cash poor, and they did give McDaniels a lot of money. So it's really kind of a situation where McDaniels is probably going to stay with the Raiders unless there's something really, really drastic that happens. And keep in mind, Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe right now, Jimmy G's not even cleared to practice, and they're expecting a lot out of him. But I think that, God, I couldn't give, let me try to guess here. I think he keeps his job -130. That's probably a number I would give you. Or gets fired at -130 and keeps his job probably +135. When somebody's been managing fields over 75 years, said himself the field was a scrape from, pretty inclined to believe it. Yeah. I'm a oh, Denver Gator! What's up, peeps? I lost track of time watching porn. Okay. All right. Nothing wrong with that. I'm so glad to see you, Denver Gator. I've been jacked up. I had an energy drink earlier, but I'm just drinking coffee right now. But I am jacked up. It's a great offline, a great O-line, and Reed and Heck know what they're doing. People need to go back, watch plays again. The Chiefs' offensive scheme. Little love here. Dan, take your pick. Dan, either the script was for the Eagles to slip and not the Chiefs players. So they kept swapping out the Can you all stop complaining about our field? You think we play on every single home game? Speaking of South Alabama, my sister, you got, all right, yes, Jalen Tolbert. I got the name right. It took me a while. Every preseason, it's Chargers versus Cowgirls in the Super Bowl. Dable is used to designing his offense without a running back. Barkley's just a different beast, man. And they don't have any receivers there. It's actually a great job. He did win Coach of the Year, and you can make a strong case he deserved it. But I think that saying the Giants are definitely going to improve, I'm not so sure. So, hey, Perry's a Broncos fan. I hope they extend McDaniels for 10 more years. I'm adding Waller and being in day to a double and Kafka. I'm inclined to say they won't regress. I get that. Diggs 10 pick also. Yeah, Diggs was. I saw a lot of things. Diggs is a lockdown corner. I'm like, yeah. I didn't want that. I was so happy I was going to make it. Love you too. Oh, I love this girl. Jags better take a step forward. Ridley coming back from suspension year 2 with Doug. Yeah, and you know what they were able to do? Oh, crap. Oh, God. I am so embarrassed. I had the sentence that I wanted to say. I can't believe I forgot his name. Jacksonville's tight end that they signed to an off-season extension, and they finally were able to unlock his talent. It didn't happen until like the last half of the year. I can't believe I forgot his name. When I did my top 10 tight ends of all time, UCF Jaguar actually jumped on when I did the premiere, and he mentioned the tight end's name, and oh, God, I am so embarrassed. UCF Jaguar better not be watching right now because I am so embarrassed I cannot remember the kid's name. As far as raw ability, top 5, but never been able to pan out. And finally, Jacksonville unlocked that. And Christian Kirk had 1,000 yards receiving. Then they get Ridley. I'm so embarrassed. I cannot think of the guy's name. Number 17 went to Ole Miss, draft pick by the Giants, and I'm just complete blank. Hey Girl. Everybody loves Hey Girl. Everybody loves Hey Girl. I want to watch the Jags this year, even though my squad slapped them around last year. Oh, yeah. Jacksonville's going to be a fun team to watch. I'm serious. I think they're going to have the South wrapped up by early December. I really do. Week 2, when they play Kansas City, could decide the home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. And it sucks because Cam Robinson's going to miss the first, I think it's 4 games due to PED suspension. Jacksonville is prepared for it, but still a big loss. And they'll kind of point to that if they lose that game. So Davis said Carter was his mentor in Georgia, but just saying I'm not a huge fan of Carter. I don't think he's going to play a lot. Evan Ingram. Yeah. I said like 9 things about him. Could not remember. I am so embarrassed. If UCF Jaguar watches that last couple minutes, he's probably going to renege on coming on. But yeah, that was such a big thing. That was kind of the big reason why Jacksonville started winning a ton of games. They finally unlocked the Evan Ingram conundrum because he's not a tight end. He's basically just a big receiver. Go back to his combine, ran like a 4.43. He was like 6'2", 230, I think. He's not a big dude by tight end standards. To tell you the truth, it's kind of funny. I hate to use this comparison. Kind of reminds me of Shannon Sharp. He's too big to be a receiver. He's too small to be a tight end, except Shannon Sharp bulked up, and nobody knew how to use him. And then finally Doug Peterson unlocked it. So Eagles fans, don't think about the defenses. Reed and Heck have gotten great coaching experience against San Francisco and Bucs. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm watching all 22 and not seeing the field. A lot of love a lot of love. DG, how you adjusting the Alabama summer? It's funny. Denver Gator told me it was chilly there. So, oh man, Tommy, what's up? What's up, DC for Life, Cowboys Nation? You know what? Somebody asked me how the Cowboys are going to do this year. I wish you would have jumped on, because I'm not sold on their coach. Just forgot his name. I'm just forgetting names left and right here. There's a lot of things about Dallas I like. It wouldn't surprise me if Dallas starts the season hot. It wouldn't surprise me if Dallas wins the East. It really wouldn't. I think you do top players from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, etc. Oh, God, that's a good one. That really is a good one. God, so right now it's been a struggle making a video Monday through Friday plus work, and then I got some other things going on. It's been a real struggle, but that may be something I do during the off season after the draft. Because this is going to be, I say this, I think I'm going to say this every single year, but this year is going to be a good one. This is going to be a fun draft. And excuse me, Bufa, he did the draft show with me. He's excited about doing it again. I was kind of funny because I was telling him about the tight end out of Georgia, and he's like, "You're already looking at draft stuff?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." I almost forgot. There was a Chiefs offensive tackle, John Alt. His son, Joe Alt's a left tackle at Notre Dame, and there's a chance he's a top 10 pick. So, you got left tackles, you got receivers, you got a tight end, you got quarterbacks. This is just it's going to be a good draft. It's going to be a good draft. And here's the thing. I'm probably not going to watch it much. Last year, I think I only watched about like 75 games. And I'll be honest, I probably won't catch more than 50. I'm going to DVR a lot of games, but I probably won't get around to watching a lot of college football. What will happen is after the regular season's over, I'm going to watch a ton of tape on college football to get prepared for the draft. But I probably won't be able to watch a lot of college football this year. I'll probably catch about 50, maybe 60 games. Realistically, I'm being honest. I don't have the time to watch as much college football. To tell you the truth, if I could, I would. If I could, and I can't do it. If I could, I would watch college football Saturday and Sunday, and then watch pro football Monday and Tuesday. That's what I would do. I wish I could watch like, I really wish, because like I tried this once. I tried watching like college football. Like I'm in the Midwest, so college football starts at 11, and then you can get the Mountain West football's a hidden treasure. A lot of people don't know about it. It's so much fun, especially last year. Like San Diego State at like they were undefeated for like I think they started off 9-0, 10-0. But anyway, you have Mountain West football. It's a lot of fun. So it goes from 11 a.m. to like 10 p.m. I think like one of the Mountain West games will start like at 9 or 10 p.m. And I tried doing it, like catch like, there's like 4 sections of games. I tried doing it, and like halfway through, I was like, I just need a break, and then I took a break, and I couldn't, I was like, okay, well, I'll watch this Sunday. Now I watch NFL all day Sunday. I was like, I'll try doing it Monday. I was like, I can't do it. So. But yeah, if it was up to me, I would watch college football Saturday and Sunday. I wouldn't even watch NFL. If time wasn't an issue, I would watch college football all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and then I would start watching games Monday, and then I'd save like Sunday night and Monday on Tuesday. I would do that, but I can't. So, you can't best players of all time, but oh yes, I can. Oh yes, I can. I did a live stream top 10 quarterbacks of all time, and I guessed, and I did a video top 10 tight ends of all time, and I had old time players. Matter of fact, there's a guy, he did a video top 10 tight ends of all time, and I wanted him to come on the show. I asked if he would come in and put some comments in, and if he wanted to join next week. I didn't hear back from him. I think maybe he felt kind of like I slighted him, and but he did a video. Now he said he had some disagreements, but his video, he left off the list, not even on his list. He didn't have John Mackey, and he didn't have Mike Ditka. And I'm like, okay, I understand you not having Ditka on there, which I disagree about. But if you have a top 10 tight ends of all time list and you don't have John Mackey on it, you're wrong. And what it was is that they're younger guys, so they just took like the best tight ends of the last, 50 years. Is that right? Yeah, about 50. Yeah, they had Ozzie Newsome on there. Then they had all the modern players on there. But if you do an all-time list and you don't have John Mackey, so can I do it? Because yes, I can. Oh yes, I can. I could do a list of 50. I can do this. If I do it, it'll be after the 2024 draft, between like May and July. And I would probably do like a 50s video, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and then maybe 2000s. So, yeah, I can do it. You're number one to my book. You're amazing, Dan. I believe in you. We are blessed to have you. I'm manifesting TV for you, my friend. Oh, thank you so much. Because so the way it works is that, for those of you that don't know, if you have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watched hours before you get monetized. And I have over 1,000 subscribers. I did that in March 15th, if I'm correct. I wrote it down. It was just a monumental day. And now I just need 4,000 watched hours. But unfortunately, I'm going to do that now. I'm trying to work on that now for all the videos. And then the start of the football season, I'll be live Tuesdays and Fridays. So if you're free on Tuesday, come check me out. I'm going to be live. Plus, I'm going to do play-by-play for all 17 Chiefs regular season games. Knock on wood, because I have some things going on. In my personal life, I may miss a game early in the season, and I'll cross that bridge when it comes. But I have some things going on. I might miss a game or two early in the season live. But with the extra live stream, and then doing the game, and then the picks video that I'm going to do on a weekly basis, I'm hoping to get the 4,000 watched hours. And also thanks to you guys supporting me. But the truth is, man, I just have so much fun. Like all day today, I was like, God, I can't wait to get on here and start talking football. And so, yeah. Key's not going to lie. It's brutal. Lowest temperature during the day the last 3 weeks has been 90. Oh, my God. Yeah, to tell you the truth, it's been raining a lot this summer, so it's been muggy outside. But trust me, I'm fully aware that Florida muggy and Kansas City muggy is night and day different. So Rashid Rice threw up threw up in training camp, and Chiefs fan, he can't handle the heat. He played at SMU. So yeah. 120. Oh shit. Oh God, it's yeah. I'm not going. You know, a couple days ago, the heat was really bothering me, and I talked to a girl in Texas. She's like, "It's 113 here, Dan. So shut up." That's not what she said, but I was like, "Yeah, I was having problems with the mugginess and stuff." So when I lived in Mississippi, DG, I opened my door to my home. It was like sticking my head in an oven that had a fan that blew hot. Yeah, I was talking about Evan Ingram, and for years, people are trying to figure out how to use him, and when Doug Peterson finally did it, that really unlocked the Jacksonville Jaguar team, and I think that he's kind of the key. But then you get Ridley, and keep in mind, I forgot his name. All right, I'm just forgetting names left and right now. I might have to start like pulling up the team's depth chart before I start talking about the players. I'm just forgetting them left and right. The receiver from the Cardinals had 1,000 yards last year. Played at Texas A&M. Really liked him a lot. Forgot his name completely. Perry, I agree. Like when people argue who was to go in the NBA, as I always try to break it down by arrows, like the stuff, the 3-point line, hand check and change. Yeah, you're right. Like scoring 40 points in the 90s is the equivalent of scoring like 70 today. You know, like look, go back and watch shit. You know, go back and watch some Detroit Pistons in what was it, 80, 89, 90 when they won the NBA championship. Watch the Detroit Pistons. Like instead of it being a foul, they would be ejected. The whole team would have been ejected back then. So, I mean, yeah, I get it. But yes, I can do it. I can do it. To say I can't do it, oh, yes, I can. I can do it. So, yeah. Thoughts on CJ, GJ saying the worst thing about playing in Philly was the fans. Lots of Philly. It's kind of weird because I've seen a few players get drafted by the Eagles that were good players that just didn't like Philly. It's not for everybody. Of all the fan bases, it's a true story. It was the year Donovan McNabb was I'm sorry, not Donovan McNabb. Terrell Owens was with the Eagles, and the Chiefs jumped out to a 21-3 lead, and the Eagles came back and won the game. And there was an Eagles fan just going ballistic. So a police officer went up to him, and he was near me, and he told the guy, he goes, "Listen, you're not doing anything illegal. I'm not going to arrest you, but you're pissing a lot of people off how obnoxious you're being. So if you don't mind, tone it down, because there's only a handful of us. We can only do so much. So can you just tone it down for your own safety?" And here's the deal. If that officer didn't stop him from being that much of a dick, he might have gotten jumped. There was a Cowboys fan that I almost got in a fight with, a Steelers fan almost got in a fight with, but Philly fans are a different type of animal as far as being obnoxious. So I didn't see that or hear that myself, but Philly fans, they're a different type of beast. They really are. And I don't, you be honest, it's kind of good for the sport, but I'm going to be honest with you. Let's say I was an NFL player. I would personally, like, even though it's a major media market, I wouldn't want to play there, man. I just wouldn't. But those people are nuts, man. Those people are legitimately nuts. I will say that. Or like in hockey, when they quadrupled the rule book, or when they removed the 2-line pass stop. I don't even know what the 2-line pass stoppage is. I don't know what that is. Keys, Philly fans always been called ass clowns. Remember, they cheered a playmaker. Oh, God, yes, they cheered when Michael Irvin's career got injured. So CJGJ, yeah. Everybody make a Dan Talks Football playlist. Start playing it every night. I would love that. The playlist that I would really ask you to take a look at is my NFL team previews. I got the first 5 down, and I think they're 5 really good videos. Now, what happened is I'm really embarrassed about this, but I made the Texans. I misspelled Texans. in one video, so I had to go back and correct it. And then I realized that I had to actually change the video. So I released another video. So there's on that playlist, there's 2 Houston Texans videos, and both of them right now, the second one I released is getting a lot of views. I have no idea why, but anyway, I did the Bears, Texans, Cardinals, Colts, and I released the Broncos video about 2.5 hours ago. And I think they're all pretty solid. I actually almost have the Rams video completed. And then I'm going to have the Rams video will come Monday. And then Tuesday, if I remember right, Tuesday's the Raiders. Wednesday would be Atlanta. I'm trying to think here who picked 9th and 10th. 9th, okay, 9 would be Carolina, and then 10, I believe, is the Saints. So that'll be I'll have 10 down. So sadly, I don't think that it counts the hours if the same account keeps watching. Actually, it does. I don't think it matters. If you can put on my playlist, hit play, hit shuffle, and hit continuous, and it counts. But here's the catch. I need like in a week, I would need like 6,000. So like, I'd have to have multiple people. But yeah, it actually does. It does count. So can't listen to Dan falling asleep. He gets me all y'all talking about the heat ball. It hasn't got too bad here yet with Canada burning. The air quality has been shit. Oh, the air quality is a different beast. In the Midwest, it's been raining a lot, so it's really muggy out here, man. This is the muggiest summer. I never. Today it's actually awesome. It's like 70, but it's just thick. It's really weird. In the NBA in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, defense were tough to play against. No, oh God, no. And it's funny. I rewatched like the Detroit Bad Boys a couple months ago, and I was like, Jesus Christ, like, oh God, Bill Laimbeer just like beating the shit out of people. Seriously, every Bill Laimbeer clip is an injection today. Every single play Bill Laimbeer had is an injection today. But here's the thing. I think that the Detroit Pistons would still been a good team because they had, Chuck Daly's a world-class coach, and they would have been able to work around it. I really, really believe that. I really, really believe that. But I tell you the truth, what really happened is that the NBA just didn't want to see it, so they outlawed it. The truth is, if it was the Lakers playing that way, they probably would keep it and just say, hey, this is hey, it's popular, we love it. Part of it also was to do with the fact that they wanted Michael Jordan to win it. I believe the NBA really wanted Michael Jordan to win a championship. I firmly believe that. I really do. So my conspiracy theory of the day. It's hard to breathe with all the smoke from the forest. Oh God, I didn't know about any forest fires. So yeah. LOL, I'm not going to judge them as fans. I was just amazed he actually just said as bluntly as he did. I didn't hear or see that comment, but out of the fan bases that came to Arrowhead, Philly was the worst. There was one game that Cowboys fans were just super obnoxious, but I'll go with Steelers. Steelers fans are bad, and they travel. Like Steelers fans travel. Cowboys fans suck. Those are the 3 fan bases. Vikings fans are awesome. Packers fans are awesome. They travel big time. Seriously, I think there's only been one game I remember Lions fans coming to, and that was with Barry Sanders. They rarely come to Arrowhead. So I can't sit here and tell you that Lions fans are good. I wish I could tell you that, but I can't. Green Bay and Minnesota fans are fantastic. Oh yeah, Bears fans are kind of dicks. Not as bad as Eagles, Cowboys, and Steelers, but Bears fans are kind of dicks. Chargers fans are surprisingly douchey. I was really surprised, but when they showed up, they were douchey. Broncos fans are awesome. Raiders fans are hit and miss, but they're weird. Raiders fans are. I could rant about this one Raiders fan in particular, but yeah, Raiders fans are weird, but I've gotten along with most of them. I have a lot of respect for Raiders Nation. A lot of respect for Raiders Nation. Raiders Nation love Denver fans. Even though I went out to Colorado last year and they were convinced that they were going to win Super Bowl, and I'm like, oh boy, you are going to be disappointed. You are going to be. Chargers fans are douchey. So it's like all fan base. If you play well, you're loved, and you don't have the fans. And if you don't, the fans have reasons to hound you. Playing in hockey yeah. I get that. Okay. Philly fans boo. Yeah, Phillies fan. It's a rumor that Eagles fans boo, or if you're a baby and you're born in Philly, you learn that your first word is a boo or something like that. So, okay, in the 80s, if a player passed a puck and a player he was passed to was 2 lines ahead of the play would be blown dead. If I was across the center line and somebody passed, okay, that makes sense. Okay, makes sense. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Patrick Ewing would be kicked out of every game. You know, it's actually funny. If you think he was physical with the Knicks, watch those Georgetown teams. He would have been ejected from every single one of his games in college in today's game. Every single one. Georgetown is funny because like I watched, I think it was the Phi Slamma Jamma. But yeah, he would have been kicked out of every single Georgetown team. Dan, look up how much of Canada is burnt this year, forest fires. Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know any of that. As a general rule of thumb, I watch very little news. I just don't believe most of it. I'm sorry. I'm that kind of guy. Like if I see something on the news, I just kind of yeah. It's very, very rare. I was the guy in 2010 wondering why everybody was wearing a mask. Like or 2020, I'm sorry. I was like, why is everybody wearing a mask? What the fuck's going on? Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm oblivious. I'm just, and I on my most of the news stuff I get is actually on Twitter, like world news, but I started blocking more and more people. So basically my news feed, and also I DVR every show I watch. I skip through every commercial. So like something big were to happen. You seen the movie? You remember Independence Day? Like I didn't see the new one, but remember the original Independence Day where like the saucers are here and everybody's in panic and Will Smith walks outside, looking for his newspaper. I would be like that. I would have no idea what's going on. Aliens may have invaded. I wouldn't know. I would have no clue. I would be looking at, I would be wondering why more football news wasn't across my social media. I'm not oblivious to the world. I really am. I'm completely oblivious to the world. I don't follow world events. I don't follow the news. All I want to do is like when I scroll through my phone way too much. And that's another thing. It drives me nuts how addicted people are to their phones. So like I drive, and I'm assuming it's the same everywhere, but I drive, and I'm not exaggerating. About 60% of the time when I come up to a red light, somebody's just, and it's like put your goddamn phone down. I don't like people that text and drive. So. Hey girl TV, you have a terrific night. I will probably text you later. I didn't know you worked nights, so a nice text, not what some of you guys are thinking, but anyway, it's so good. Thank you so much for joining the show, and hopefully everybody who watches this show, who sees you, is subscribed to your channel. I know you're posting a lot of great stuff, and I've been behind on catching up because all I've been doing is literally all day today, I was making videos that I'm releasing. I spent this morning on the Broncos video. I almost had the Rams video. posted, almost completed. And I'm going to work on that. And then, but yeah, anyway, great to see you. Lots of love for Hate Girl TV. Cheryl is fantastic. I'd watch news if news outlets would be like Fox News slogan, not their practice, but their slogan of "We report, you decide." If I watch the news, I want it like Dragnet's. Just the fact it used to be that way. It used to be that way, and to be honest with you, even when it was that way, I really didn't care. I remember one of the checks for like $300 was coming out. Like somebody had to tell me about it. I didn't know. And I was like, I'm not getting a check for $300. And I had to go on the internet and find out, oh, I'm getting a check. And then like the next day I got a check for $300. Like I seriously, if my buddy didn't tell me about it, I probably would have thought it was a scam and ripped it up. Dead serious. So even if it was just the facts, I probably wouldn't watch the news anyway. Just I've never really cared. That's just me. That's just me. But then I don't want some prejudicial storytellers trying to tell me what I need to think. Just give me the facts and smart. Yeah, exactly. Keep in mind, I think the news is more entertainment than information. But even if it was information, not entertainment, I wouldn't watch it anyway. But I think it's just kind of disgusting. I used to get a kick out of Tucker Carlson when he was on Fox News. Like every now and then he'd have I swear to God, it was like wrestling, because he'd bring somebody on who would just say something just completely outlandish, and Tucker Carlson would just have this look. I can't do it. It'd be like, it was so subtle, but it was like his mouth would be open, like just like a half an inch, and he'd have this look of confusion. I wish I could do it. Something like, and I swear it'd be some of the dumbest thing, and I'd swear there's no way. And then I remember somebody posted on YouTube how CNN was like, okay, look, you guys have to be a lot more rowdy. We can't put you on TV if you guys aren't like screaming and yelling. And so Dan, I don't watch much news either. No matter what channel you watch, they have their political. Yeah, exactly. I'm same way. But you know what? Even if it was different, I wouldn't watch news anyway. I want to watch football, and if I'm not watching football, I want to watch something entertaining. Actually, side note, I just saw. I don't go to the movie theater anymore, but I just saw the movie Flash. The Flash. Really surprised. Really liked it. That was pretty damn good. I heard different things about it, but I really, really liked it. It was like the first new movie. It was the first superhero movie. I was like, this is really good. I heard it got some bad reviews, but I really enjoyed it. Oh my God, Perry. Dominique Wilkins is one of my all-time favorite players. Oh my God, Dominique Wilkins would be unstoppable. I seriously, okay, like Dirk Nowitzki. I think Wilkins is better. I really do. The human highlight reel. Oh my God. Dominique Wilkins would average over 30 easy, maybe 35. Like Dominique, for those of you who don't know, like I'm not a big basketball guy, but Dominique Wilkins was ridiculous. Dude, he was like 6'10", 6'11", had range, crazy athleticism, didn't really care about playing defense, but Dominique Wilkins was so good. And Clyde Drexler was also really, really good. The only issue with Clyde Drexler was that he came out the same year and plays the same position as Jordan. He came out the wrong time in NBA history. Clyde Drexler in today's game would be ridiculous. Oh God. Yeah, you're right. Perry, you're one. Dominique, I love Dominique Wilkins. I love Dominique. I forget what I remember watching Atlanta. I remember it was like a blowout loss, and then Dominique Wilkins, like they lost the game, but like Dominique Wilkins was like just unbelievable. And Oh God. Oh God. I can't tell you how much I love Dominique Wilkins. Dominique Wilkins. For those of you who probably don't remember Dominique Wilkins, like it's going to sound nuts, but if I had to compare him to anybody, he's about 2 or 3 inches shorter than Kevin Garnett, but more explosive, like phenomenal leaping ability. That's an accurate description. Kevin Garnett, like 3 inches shorter, because Kevin Garnett's 7 foot, right? Dominique Wilkins was like 6'10", 6'11", could jump like a kangaroo. Like slightly less leaping ability than Jordan, and I do mean slightly less. Like freak of nature, man. Dominique Wilkins. Yeah, he would. That's accurate. That's accurate. Kevin Durant. Did I say a different name? Yeah, Kevin Durant with more leaping ability and about 2 inches shorter. That's Dominique Wilkins. Oh God, yeah, Drexler was good. Either way, it's easier to get news and clippings on social media. Same reason why there's no reason to watch ESPN anymore. Yeah, I don't do that ESPN Plus, but I do use ESPN as a reference. When I look up the depth charts, it's just easier. Their website's pretty handy. But I don't do the ESPN Plus. And it really sucks because I love Mel Kiper, and they also had some massive layoffs. They laid off Todd McShay, and I was like, oh my God. For those of you who don't know, Todd McShay actually came to Kansas City the last couple seasons. He did the preseason games for the Chiefs, and that's kind of a practice that some of these guys do, is that they'll do preseason games for a team. But Todd McShay, I love Todd McShay, and ESPN let him go. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And it was kind of funny because I saw this thread on Twitter where, the phrase is "go woke, go broke," and then somebody's trying to argue that ESPN's not going woke, and it's like, that's not even an argument, dude. Of course they are. The question is that, are they laying off people because they are being more politically correct or woke, or whatever word you want to use, or are they just, it's just happens the way it is. Muggsy Bogues getting to play today when they don't play D. So here's the deal. They had Spud Webb, and I remember Dominique Wilkins was critical about Spud Webb, and it was at a time when because he was 5'7", like, and he was his teammate, so like it kind of rubbed people the wrong way, but I think he was right. Muggsy Bogues, on the other hand, was a good player. Spud Webb was more entertaining. Muggsy Bogues was easily a better player. It was funny. He went to a Baltimore high school. Muggsy Bogues, Reggie Lewis, and another NBA player on the same high school team in Baltimore. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, like Baltimore high school basketball is like Texas high school football. But it was Muggsy Bogues, Reggie Lewis, and another NBA player on the same Baltimore high school basketball team. And, they, of course, went undefeated in one state. But God, I wish I remember the third guy. But just how my mind works. But you mentioned Garnett, which made me think of Ray Allen, which made me think of He Got Game. So, Dan, what movie that starred a real pro athlete is? Oh, God, that is a good one. Is it pro athletes still playing? That would be the question, because if you're talking about an athlete who's no longer playing, the answer is The Dirty Dozen with Jim Brown. One of my favorite movies of all time, The Running Man. I haven't seen it in a long time. Jim Brown was in that. The greatest football movie of all time, in my opinion, was Any Given Sunday. Jim Brown was in that. I'm a big Jim fan. So a lot of people don't know this, but Jim Brown helped Burt Reynolds get into acting. A lot of people don't know that. So, but a pro athlete while he was playing, athlete period. The Dirty Dozen's widely considered one of the greatest movies of all time. So I'll go with the Dirty Dozen and Jim Brown. It's actually funny. So he retired so he could, hey, look, he wasn't getting paid, so he was going to make movies. And so they were filming the Dirty Dozen. Producers like, hey, can you carry this backpack and run over there? Is that something you can physically do? And the guy turned around and goes, I'm Jim Brown. And Jim Brown goes, I'm Jim Brown. I can do that. Director didn't know he was talking to Jim Brown. But yeah, there was a clip where like Jim Brown's running and the director was concerned that Jim Brown wouldn't physically be able to do that. And he's like, I'm Jim Brown. So probably the Dirty Dozen. I've never seen Dirty Dozen. I've never seen Dirty Dozen. I love Any Given Sunday. Rocky was originally supposed to have, instead of Carl Weathers. Now, Carl Weathers was linebacker for the Raiders. I don't know if that counts. Was originally going to be Joe Frazier. And then Joe Frazier was sparring with Sylvester Stallone and like busted him up really bad. And then they're like, we're going to get an actor instead. So does Rocky count? I mean, Carl Weathers played linebacker for the Raiders. I mean, does that count? I mean, Rocky's probably the one of the greatest movies of all time. I love Rocky. I'll be honest though, like I only watched the fight scene at the very end. That's it. That's all I watched. I rewatched it, but I do like the training montage. I skipped like the first 3/4 of the movie. Oh God, my favorite NBA player was not a Pistons. Oh, Vince Carter was so much fun to watch. Vince Carter as a Toronto Raptor was insane. Vince Carter as a Raptor was insane. Oh yeah. Todd McShay can do his own thing or get hired. My Outkick or Fox. You know what? I haven't bought that Outkick, but I think it's just a matter of time. Some big Jason Whitlock actually started at the Kansas City Star, and I didn't always agree with him, but I read his article every single day. And I'm a big Jason Whitlock fan. Huge. It's sooner or later I'm probably going to subscribe to Outkick or whatever it is that Jason Whitlock's on. You have to pay, and I hate that, like a lot of the stuff that you can't even view that. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Rocky because Carl Weathers. Is that fair? I mean, like nobody remembers that very few people know Carl Weathers played linebacker for the Raiders. So, like, I don't know if that's cheating. Burt Reynolds played quarterback at Florida State. Does that count? Because Smokey and the Bandit's one of my all-time favorite movies. So, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a tough one. Spud beat Neek and Clyde enough said. So here's the deal. There's a lot of controversy because Dominique was pissed because he's like, look, the only reason he won is he's 5'7", funny. Any Given Sunday, All-Star Football Players Cast. Yeah, you could do that. Lawrence Taylor was really good. Yeah, Lawrence Taylor was really good in that movie. Lawrence Taylor was phenomenal. I think I'm kind of surprised Lawrence Taylor hasn't done more in acting. He did like professional wrestling. Sad thing is, a lot of people don't know Lawrence Taylor's son's in prison for life. It was like drug trafficking or something really messed up. Lawrence Taylor was no saint off the field either, but Lawrence Taylor in Any Given Sunday is really good. I was kind of surprised he wasn't in more movies. He was also in Waterboy. That was just hilarious, by the way, when he was in Waterboy. Lawrence Taylor should do more movies. He's really, really, really good. I did enjoy both the original and a remake, but I did say star. Oh, okay. You did say star athletes. Okay, Ray Allen, Lawrence Taylor, Jim Brown. So in that case, I'd go with the Dirty Dozen, even though I've never seen it, just because it's widely considered one of the greatest movies of all time. Great cast. I have to think about that. Best movie I've ever seen was Any Given Sunday. You know what though? I'm thinking about now. I've never seen He's Got Game. I've never seen it. And I'm a Denzel Washington fan, but I've never seen it. Never seen it. But I'd probably go with the Dirty Dozen. But the favorite, with the star, there was so many former players that people didn't even know about that were in that movie. So I saw like I owned the DVD and I watched all the extras. So Oliver Stone, he came out, he made the movie, and then they brought in some former NFL coaches, and they're like, and Oliver Stone showed it, and he goes, "Hey, what do you think?" And he goes, "This is nothing like it, you know." You got, the coaches. So that's Oliver Stone filmed it. He said the players didn't look like professional players. The coaches were too young. And so Oliver Stone just threw it all away. And he said, how would you do it? And that's when he brought in a bunch of NFL players and everything. So, and then Oliver Stone put them through like 2-a-days and put them through like a real NFL practice. And even the former NFL players complained that like it was hard, but yeah. So, Any Given Sunday, love that. I'm a big Oliver Stone fan too. Big Oliver Stone fan. Hoosiers is a great movie, kind of based on. So here's the deal. Hoosiers is based on a true story, and I actually watched the game. Not all of it because it's boring as hell. When the Hoosiers, so the state of Indiana, they changed the rules now, but it used to be the state of Indiana. Every school competes for the state championship. There was only one, and they changed the law, and people threw a fit too, because it used to be if you won the Indiana state championship, it was literally a state championship. Every school, every town. So the original Hoosiers, what happened is before the 24-second clock. So what they did is they took a guy, their best dribbler, and they just put him across they still had the 10-second clock. And he just held the ball for as long as he possibly could. The final score was something stupid. It was like 26-19 or something. It was really dumb because what they did is he literally just held the ball and said, "Look, we're just going to play keep away." And it was like a great tradition, and parents, a lot of people complained, but finally, money talks, and they, made it in classes like every other state has, 1A, 2A, 3A. But the Hoosier story was that there was only one. It was like, at one point in time, there was only one heavyweight championship belt. Well, that's how it was in Indiana. And it just changed I want to say in like the 90s. And maybe it was the 2000s, but it used to be every single, and that's what it was. It was a small town of like 500 people. Whenever the team played, the town shut down, and it was just, they found a way. It was one of the greatest stories of all time. But yeah. The Rock did play football. Not a football star, obviously, but yeah. Does that count? So Keith says it counts. Every movie Rock in counts, yeah. It's actually funny. I just saw a movie. It was based off a true story. It was The Rock. Oh, God. The Rock, Mark Wahlberg, and the guy that played the Falcon in the Marvel movies. And this was based off a true story. The guy that played Monk, Tony Shalhoub or whatever. So anyway, this is based off a true story in the 90s. These three guys they owned it, or they managed the gym. And one of the guys they trained, he was a multimillionaire and he was a dick. So they were just like, why don't we just take over all this stuff? It was just like one of the dumbest things ever. And it turned out to be the police just botched it. But finally, they figured it out, and they couldn't kill the guy. And then they decided they were going to kill the guy. And then they didn't. So the main guy was sent to death row. The other two guys are, I think, still in prison today. Really good movie. I didn't think I'd like it. I can't think of the name of it. But it's The Rock, Mark Wahlberg, and the guy who plays the Falcon in the movies. Rebel Wilson, when she's fat, she's in it. She's actually kind of good. It's kind of funny. The Replacements, Friday Night Lights was good. I didn't care for Friday Night Lights, and the reason why I didn't care because I know about Texas high school football. And for those of you that don't know, if you've never seen the movie like The Coach and then the players, there's no way, because there's about 20 coaches on the Texas. Every Texas high school team has at least 20 coaches, okay? So if the head coach was removed, there would be an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator, an assistant head coach. It would not be the backup quarterback or the original quarterback. And that's, I couldn't get over that, even though a lot of good actors in it and a lot of really good actors were in it. I did like The Replacements. That was based off of a true story. And Gene Hackman, one of my all-time favorite actors. I like Keanu Reeves. I mean, yeah. I was thinking sports movie. Okay. Sports movies. Okay, Jesus. Sports movies. Sports movies with star athletes. God, He Got Game is the only one I could think of off the top of my head. Well, actually, no. It would be He Got Game, Any Given Sunday. The second one, The Longest Yard, would be Michael Irvin, and supposedly he had a body double, which I thought was kind of funny. And then I remember Adam Sandler got tips from one of the guys on ESPN, former quarterback. I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name, but he's like, yeah. He Adam Sandler came to me and he's like, what can I do? And he goes, I taught him how to lick his hands. And that movie will not count as an all-time great movie, The Longest Yard remake. The original with Burt Reynolds was actually pretty good, because back in the 70s, in the Deep South, a lot of businesses had semi-pro teams like that. It was a big deal in the South. You could only, The Longest Yard wouldn't exist in Montana or something like that, but down south, you could put a team together like that, especially in a place like a prison where you had a bunch of prison guards and stuff. So it made a lot of sense in the 70s, for that movie. The remake, it was just kind of silly. But keep in mind, all of Adam Sandler's movies are silly, and you can't look at them seriously. Got have a sense of humor. I mean, Happy Gilmore. You can't take that movie serious. But the answer to your question, Keys, for me would be Any Given Sunday. Just Oliver Stone. I'm a big Oliver Stone fan. I've never seen JFK though. Never seen JFK. I know it's like 3 or 3.5 hours long, and I don't know enough about history, and I also don't want to hear about the conspiracy theories, with JFK. Is he still alive? Or, I don't want to. Oh God, Blue Chips. Anthony Hardaway was in it too. Blue Chips is Shaquille O'Neal, Anthony Hardaway, Bobby Hurley, Bobby Knight were all in that. And it's a really good movie. It's a very good movie, very underrated. I can't believe I forgot about that. Who's the biggest star that's in that movie? Is it Nick Nolte? Is it Shaquille O'Neal? Anthony Hardaway was really, really big when they made it. Bobby Hurley, lesser extent. Bobby Knight. There's not many people bigger in sports. And now, when the movie came out, he was still the head coach of Indiana, very well respected. A lot of people don't feel that way. I just watched the film a couple months ago, The Last Days of Nine. It was ESPN 30 for 30, and I didn't like how it was kind of just one-sided, where it was like, we're going to make Bobby Knight look like an evil person, and I didn't like that at all. I really, really, really didn't like that at all. Because there was a lot of positives of what he did, and they did not look at that at all, and that really bothered me. H Keys is in the house. Yes. Bobby Knight and John McEnroe getting a screaming match too. Oh God, you know what? John McEnroe was in Hey Nikki. Are we including John McEnroe? Are we including John McEnroe? I forgot about Little Nicky's not an all-time great movie. But by the way, John McEnroe, oh God, that's a good one. Bobby Knight and John McEnroe. John McEnroe would get madder. But one thing about Bobby Knight, and he took full advantage of this, Bobby Knight's a big dude. Like a lot of people didn't realize that Bobby Knight's like 6'4", 230, 240, and he was a big, intimidating man. And then he used his size to intimidate. He did that on purpose. It was a psychological tool. It really was. And with McEnroe, it was more of his intensity. So to answer that, I would say McEnroe, but you have to understand if they were like close together, Bobby Knight would intimidate McEnroe with his size. Bobby Knight was a big fucker. And I loved Bobby Knight. By the way, they had a thing. If you want to see something really good, they had a special on ESPN called Night School when they showed Bobby Knight at Texas Tech. And what it was a reality show. They brought in, I forget how many, but if you won the competition, you got a scholarship as the final scholarship to Texas Tech. And you saw something completely different out of Bobby Knight. You saw something completely different out of Bobby Knight. He yelled and screamed at the players. He scared a few of them, but he brought something. And he it was funny. One of the guys, probably the best player, which was really surprising, got cut early. Bobby Knight helped that kid get a scholarship to another school, and the 30 for 30 special, if you ever watch it on Bobby Knight, they really put him in a bad light. And it's really a shame because they overlooked all the good he did. If you played for Bobby Knight and you graduated, Bobby Knight would help you go out and get a job in the real world if you couldn't play in the NBA. And no, they did not mention that one time. Bobby Knight helped all of his players outside of basketball. And that was 100% overlooked in the 30 for 30. So The Doors was a good morning. I've never seen The Doors, and I love Val Kilmer, and I used to be a big Doors fan. So Bobby Knight brings a chair to fight one man. Bobby Knight would kick John McEnroe's ass. All right. There's no question about that. Yeah. Johnny Mack was still ranked in tennis when he jumped the cab in Little. Really? I didn't know that. I thought he retired long before. I'm gonna can I challenge that? Do I have a red flag? I'm gonna challenge that. I think he was finished with tennis. I'm pretty sure he was done. I know like there's this old time circuit that he still plays on, but yeah. Actually, Keith, so here's the deal, Keith. It's actually funny. I need a drink. Last time I renewed Netflix, it was like commercial free for like $9. It was like $8 a month, and it jumped up to like 10 or 9, and I stopped. And then last year I wanted to see Cobra Kai, so I got it for a month. And then I watched Last Chance U, the basketball, and it was so good. I can't believe this. I'm saying this as somebody who loves football. I like the Last Chance U basketball more than I like the football. Now, the first season of Last Chance U, I knew several of the players, but as the season went on, I knew like less and less of the players. But I remember the first season, like I heard a lot of those guys. It was like the quarterback from Florida State, I knew all about his story. The defensive tackle who was went from, I think it was Penn State to Georgia. But I knew about a lot of those players, so like it wasn't really a surprise. But the Last Chance U, when they switched to basketball, was really, really, really good. And it sucks because I had to unfollow Last Chance U on Twitter because I didn't want to know anything. And the new season's out, so I looked at it because I got an email and it's like $20 if you don't do the commercials or something stupid. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. But what they offer promotions will probably be like a Black Friday promotion or something like that. Yeah, I do the same thing. So anyway, I don't got it yet, but I will watch it. Chiefs fans universally are telling me that Patrick Mahomes like looks really, really good. But one thing about these specials is they try to show the good, and I get that, but I don't know how much I would really enjoy it. You know, like, you know, I don't want to see like the doctored up, like, oh, Patrick Mahomes saves a baby. I don't know if I really want to see that, but I heard it was really good. I heard it was really good. Keys, you, Bobby, had tried to kick a basketball at him from a distance where he ran. Challenge it by all means. I'm pretty sure he was. What about Happy Gilmore? Didn't he have a few active? Yeah, he had. Oh God, it was. Yeah, he had 2 or 3 golfers make cameos in that. I'm going to challenge that because I'm pretty sure he was gone from now. Hold on. Now let me rephrase this. He was retired from the professional tennis tour. There may have been like some like old, because like I saw something where he was like an old time group, and there was like only like, you know, it wasn't, it was like a traveling sponsored, you know, like, you know, not whatever I don't follow tennis. You know, it's kind of weird because tennis is the only sport that women should get paid more than men. You know, I really believe that because like for women's tennis was more appealing than men's tennis. Like I have no idea who the number 1 tennis player in the world is for men, but Serena Williams, you know, that's like, you know, that's something I would probably watch. I mean, I've never watched like Serena Williams, but it's funny. I could probably name more female tennis players than men's tennis players. So. But yeah, there was a few. Phil Mickelson, no. I want to say Lee Trevino. There's a Chiefs fan who edited every episode from the Mahomes parts and uploaded it to Google Drive. He calls it quarterback 1, Mahomes part only. Is Lee Trevino? So the answer is to this one. Lee Trevino, and I want to say it was one more. But yeah, Lee Trevino wasn't Happy Gilmore. There may have been another one. So I actually saw something. The guy who played Shooter McGavin originally said no, he didn't want to do it because he didn't want to be a bad guy. He didn't want to be a jerk. And I think it was Adam Sandler was like, you know, look, we kind of need you for this, and convinced him. But like he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it for the longest time. I think he refused it a few times. I'm pretty sure it was Lee Trevino. Platoon. Oh yeah, Platoon. Platoon is a good Oliver Stone movie. His best movie. Stone was a Vietnam. I didn't know he was a Vietnam vet. I should know that. Platoon's really good. I think so. I don't remember that part, but he's a little. I remember he would keep on looking at like Happy Gilmore would blow up and he would do this. He was Lee Trevino was really good. I loved. I can't believe I forget. Platoon's really good. Natural Born Killers. I loved Natural Born Killers. Natural Born Killers is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love that movie. Love it. Platoon's is a good movie too. Platoon's very good. I think okay with women's volleyball, and I'm not 100% sure about this. The women make a lot more on sponsorships than the men do. I think. I could be wrong. Yeah, okay, it wasn't. I'll take your word for it. Happy Gilmore. Oh God, yeah, I love Happy Gilmore. I love Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore's just great. It's funny because the girl that Happy ends up with is the same girl that's in Modern Family because she had so much plastic surgery. It looks like two separate and different people. I didn't put the two together for like 5 years. And then I had to use like IMDb. It's like, is that true? Because she looks so different. Um, so yeah. I like for Modern Family, I really liked for like a year or two. Maybe it was 2 or 3 or something. I liked Modern Family, and then the boy in Modern Family when he got older, I was like, nah, this sucks. Yeah. And then the girl Ariel Winter really rubbed me the wrong way. She started going on talk shows talking about, oh, you should not complain about my boobs being big. And then she had she promoted body positively. Then she had a bunch of plastic surgery, and she was getting on the news for dressing skanky. Yeah, Jolie Bowen. Yeah, watch Happy Gilmore and then watch Modern Family, and it doesn't even look like the same person. It doesn't even look like the same person. Ariel Winter really rubbed me the wrong way. The oldest daughter, really good looking. The youngest kid, the two boys, and Lily, none of them, all of them were terrible. It was funny because I watched the show for a while. I didn't realize that Christopher Lloyd created that show. I didn't realize that for like a couple of years. Christopher Lloyd, you may remember from Doc Brown. Back to the Future is one of my all-time favorite movies. So I love Christopher Lloyd. And it's kind of funny that he would create something like Modern Family, but oh God, how you mentioned Natural Born Killers as funny as I got told to hospital. Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. It's funny because even though I like Scarface, it's not one of my all-time favorites. Like I liked it, but I'm kind of like, yeah. But yeah, Oliver Stone, yeah, love Oliver Stone. So, all right. On that note, I've been going on for about 2.5 hours, and I'm going to wrap it up. I can't thank you guys enough for joining me. We talked about movies, I think, for the last 20 minutes. But that's the great thing about this channel is I say the same thing. I say all questions are answered, anything goes, and I mean it. And I just absolutely, positively love doing this. I couldn't thank you enough. I didn't put the playlist in the description below, but check out my YouTube channel. I'm breaking down all 32 teams. The previews are short. I keep them under 10 minutes. I have a feeling once I get into the playoff teams, I may go over 10 minutes, but so far for the first several of them, I've kept them about 7-8 minutes. They're pretty good. I do them because I'm just simply trying to generate conversation. I bring up the videos go the same way, 3 likes, 3 don't likes. I break down the schedule and then I go over the Vegas odds at the very end and also put chapters in the movie. So if you just want to skip to like just my schedule breakdown, you can do that. So he is a great actor. I mean, I started watching him with Cheers. It was funny because like, I think the first movie I saw him in was Natural Born Killers. I never saw any of the movies him and Jennifer Lawrence was in. They were Hunger Games. Okay. I never saw any of the Hunger Games movies. Not one of them. And everybody says they're great. I just don't think I would like it. I may break down and watch it because every movie I've seen Jennifer Lawrence in, she's been fantastic. But I just don't see me being a Hunger Games fan. I just don't think I would like it. I really don't. I've never watched any of them. And apparently, I don't know if Woody Harrelson's a main actor or a supporting actor, but it was like Woody Harrelson, Cheers, Woody Harrelson, Natural Born Killers. And I was like, holy crap. Woody Harrelson's in, I think it's called The Grand or The Grind. It's a poker movie. And they came out with it too late. they should have came out of right when the poker boom was going on. If you follow poker, Doyle Brunson, who just passed away recently, Phil Hellmuth, a few other professional poker players make cameos in it. It's funny, that scene in Forrest Gump where he's talking about shrimp. Well, Woody Harrelson does that as far as drugs. He's like, well, cocaine, you can snort it. You can, it's, I think it's called the grind or the grand or something like that. But none of you are going to get this. There was a TV show in the 70s, John Travolta's, I think, first TV show called Welcome Back, Carter. Gabe Kaplan, anyway, he was the star. He was Mr. Carter. He's now a professional poker player. He's in it. It's a good movie. I've never seen Zombieland, but I'm told that Woody Harrelson's hat looks almost just like mine. So I might start bringing the hat back, but it's just my hair is so fantastic. The world needs more love, so give Big Bertha. I should ask greatest TV show with an athlete, at least as a regular supporting actor. That would be a tough one. That would be a tough one. Alex Karras in Webster. That I was actually a fan of Webster, but I haven't watched it in years. It may be stupid now. Oh God, what's the one with the two dads and the girl? Dick Butkus was in that. It wasn't that good of a show. If I'd probably do a Terry Crews. You know what? I love the main character. What's Andy Samberg. I love him. I love all the actors. I only watched like 3 or 4 episodes. And what it is that I got it all on Plex. One of these days I'm just going to binge watch all of it. But yeah. You should do a top question going in ooh, God, that is a good one. That's a good, yeah, My Two Dads is all thing. Terry Crews, yeah, I forgot Terry Crews is in it. The actor who plays the captain, he's been in several things. I really like him. One of these days, I'm just going to have to start watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think it's done now. I think I got all the episodes on Plex. I'm just going to binge watch it one of these days. Yeah. So anyway, it's called The Grind or The Grand, but Phil Hellmuth, Doyle Brunson. There's one other like famous poker player. Really, 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 really good movie. Underrated movie. Woody Harrelson's in it. Gabe Kaplan, some other famous actors. Really good movie. Really, really underrated movie. It just came out a couple years late. It's like 15 years old now, but it was a spoof on poker. It's really good. It would be. It would be. Midway. I haven't seen Midway. Dan, if you have Netflix, I do not. I do not, but it's on Plex, Brooklyn. I think all of it's on, and I've only seen like 4 or 5 episodes. And like every actor that's in it, I like this. I kind of like the show. The premise is pretty good. Andy Samberg, I really liked on Saturday Night Live. He's in a movie called Pop Star. It's kind of like he kind of makes fun of Justin Bieber. It's really, really good. So. yeah. He plays Chester W. Nibwitz. I've never seen it. Dan saves money as I spend on a water. Oh, I am pinching my penny, so that's a true thing. Yeah. Yeah, never stopping. Is it, I thought okay, so like okay, I got the reference wrong. Dan, I was referring. I've never seen Zombieland. Never seen Zombieland. I think I got it on Plex. Isn't there a second one? I know Woody Harrelson's in it. I know he has a cowboy hat. I haven't seen it. Never Stop, Never Stopping. Oh God, where's that from? Subtitle. Oh yeah. Really good movie. I really got a kick out of it. I thought Mariah Carey was amazing, and then Pink is in it. I used to be a big Pink fan. I don't want to get into it, but she said some stuff recently. She's like, if you don't agree with my opinion, stop listening to my music. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop listening to your music. Fair enough. You win, Pink. Yeah. So, but she was really. Mariah Carey was hilarious. I was really surprised they got Mariah Carey to do it. And, the 3 cowboy hats, the karate guy, that was, yeah. Pop star, I think that was it. Never, I think it's Never Stop Popping or something. But second Zombieland was pretty good, but Bill Murray's in it? I love Bill Murray. I'm a big Bill Murray fan. God, I should watch it. I had no idea Bill Murray was in it. Love Bill Murray. Yeah. All right. I'm ending it. Guys, listen, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you check out my previews and have a great weekend. And I'll see everybody back next Friday.